Here's what the scripture says. He that finds a wife finds a good thing. Didn't say he that finds a girl that he's attracted to, who he then begins to date, who he then calls his girlfriend, who he then buys a ring, proposes, and makes her his fiance, who he then marries later, who becomes his wife. You're not a wife when I marry you, you're a wife when I find you.
So I wanted to talk about the initial video and this post that was on Facebook. So I wanted to kind of tie it all together, but this statement about white girls being married by 25 and black women being 30 still trying to quote unquote tie down a monogamous relationship. It's a cultural thing, but it's a problem. But let's talk about why it's a cultural thing and why it's a problem. You kind of can't just throw things out there. You got to go deeper. But let's talk about the initial video. Women, black, white, or otherwise, love to use that as a reference. I'm wifey material. Well, why? Let's talk about it. If we're going to talk about the Bible, or you're going to use a Bible quote, most of you don't even know where the term comes from. Like, next time a woman throws that out there, just say, well, what passage is that and or what verse is that? Who does it even originate from? It comes from King Solomon, which, for context, made the statement, but he had 700 wives. I mean, let's be real. So if we're going to talk about marriage, let's get a little bit in depth. He had 700 wives, but in biblical terms, to marry a woman meant that she was a virgin, and as a man, she knew only you. We know that that's not happening these days. I mean, let's just be real. How quickly we forget that is the purpose or the meaning behind the white dress. Purity, meaning she's supposed to be a virgin. So let's just, pull back, ease back on slamming men over the head with Bible scriptures when at best you're a Christmas and Easter Christian anyway. Let's just be honest. But the second part was the post by the black woman. So there's always this issue with, see black men, look at what white men are doing. They're marrying their women at a higher rate than you. But there are other determining factors which can explain why black men aren't getting married. Every time there's a conversation about what a wife is, now we want to stray away from being modern women, or we want to stray away from what a wife is in the biblical sense. Now you're a modern, independent woman, and the rules have to change because, hey, it's 2021. We need to update this. So you want to change the rules to benefit you in a certain way. Doesn't work that way. But we all know we have issues personally, culturally, that differ from that other culture. So bringing up or drawing a comparison is just disingenuous. But the point is, some of us tend to want to focus more on our career. Or there's another issue of you just flat out wanting to continue a hot girl summer up until your 30s or 40s. It's just some women like that. So there's a lot of women who turn 30 and say, okay, well, somebody needs to marry me and make me a wife after running the streets after all this time just because. Why? Are you a wife by definition? Are you a helpmate? There's a sense of entitlement that happens, and I think that's what sums up the post for me. the initial post and the second post that was from Facebook, because first of all, black people represent 12% of the population: men, women, children, babies, whatever. So everybody isn't going to be married. But the other piece of this is the child support system. Keep in mind, right? 12% of the population, but women in general, period, are responsible for 85% of initiating divorces. Then let's just talk about the child support system that gets used in an effort to manipulate men and just get a check out of them. Shall I continue? There's women's weight, which we're supposed to just, there's this saying, accept me as I am, or he should accept me at my worst. Why should I give him my best? Blah, 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 whatever it is. You have to be in a position, or you should be ready, because the expectation is that a man be ready. We've been told that since we were 5 years old. But are you ready to be a wife, really? And there's a lot of women that say they want it, but they just want the party. You want the $20,000 reception hall, the $20,000 ring. It's not about the guy. Longevity. And you get divorced after 3 years. So what is the point? What do you really want? But it's all about us as a people, as a culture, being able to get along. Can you get along with a man, coexist, raise a family, and be a helpmate? Focusing on a specific number and saying, oh, white women are married by 25 and women, black women, too many black women are 30 and up. That's beyond the point. There has to be a level of focus and accountability personally. Thank you, and please subscribe.